Welcome back, YouTube, for the third installment of the 35 Whelen build. Everything has come together and the rifle has officially been shot. The rifle shot beautifully. We tried 4 different loads with it today. We had a 200 grain factory Superformance load from Hornady. We had some hand loads with 250 grain Speer Hot Cors, 180 grain Speer Hot Cors, and a 200 grain TTSX. I will loop in some velocity footage and a few pictures of some groups for you. First, I wanted to talk about how the rifle came together. This was actually, a pretty easy build. As you saw in the last installment, we had test fit all the pieces already to make sure it was going to turn out the way we wanted. I got my son and my father together, and we were able to use the Wheeler action wrench to set the headspace. I'll loop in a little bit of footage of that. All right, so we're setting headspace. Supposed to be between 45 and 60 foot-pounds. Got my father and my son trying to help me out here, so we're going to see how it goes. Go ahead. That should be it. All right. So we didn't film setting headspace because my son was in charge of the camera at that time.
I'm Camden.
But what we did with the go gauge, we inserted it into the action while it was closed, and then we screwed the barrel on until we bumped the gauge. At that point, we tightened up the Savage barrel nut to where it was hand tight, and then used the Wheeler action wrench to finish up. All right, so after we set headspace on the rifle, we did mar up the barrel nut and the receiver just a little bit, since we were using the inexpensive action wrench. Look out, this stuff's found.
I was saying hi.
Got my son manning the camera, my dad here watching. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take some Birchwood Super Blue, and we're gonna go over the areas that we marred up. Just get them back to that black color real quick. All the surfaces that we scuffed, just to keep it as blue as we can. And this will just keep it the way that it was whenever you started. Wheeler action wrench has a brass band inside of it, but it does still get scuffed up a little bit. But this is working out nicely. All right, so we've got headspace set. We've got the M-Carbo trigger spring kit installed on the trigger. We've placed the barreled action inside of the MDT field stock, and now we're about to tighten it down and torque it down. How much do we need, Cam? How much torque do we need?
60 wrench pounds.
60 inch-pounds?
Uh-huh.
Okay. We're going to try and see. See if we can get it on there. Okay. Torque on the front. All right, and we're torqued on the rear. All right, so we're going to demonstrate headspace. We've already checked once, but now that we've got the barreled action inside of the stock, we want to place the go gauge inside. These are 30-06 go gauges, but they work for 35 Whelen as well.
I'm Camden.
Go gauge works just fine. Now we're going to try the no-go gauge.
I'll hold it with you.
And no-go gauge will not even start to close. So we should have perfect headspace. Going to demonstrate with the go gauge one more time. No issue at all. We mounted the Warn rail and the Warn Maxima scope mounts with the Burris optic. Everything came together super easy with that. I've got a quick clip for torque spec on that as well. All right, let's put the last screw in.
And that's dangerous. I'll just tell you.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna torque the worn vapor rail to 20 inch-pounds. You can torque the rail more if you want. The rings, check your scope manufacturer. We're using Burris. 20 inch-pounds is fine for the rings. But on the rail, if you want to go more, you can. I don't think you're going to need more than 20, and we're wet torquing it with blue Loctite. So 20 is going to be all we need.
So blue Loctite, oh, sorry.
We've got our worn scope rings mounted with the Burris optic on there. We're going to go ahead and torque down to just right at 20 with the Wheeler fat wrench.
That's right, Dad. Tap, nap, cap, tap.
And that's right at 20 inch-pounds. The only extra piece we added after the test fit video was the Arca rail. Fit right into the M-lock slots on the MDT field stock, and works great with the Bog Death Grip tripod. Out of the loads we tested today, we tested a 180 grain Speer Hot Cor. We tested a 250 grain Speer Hot Cor, a 200 grain Hornady Superformance factory ammo, and a 200 grain TTSX handload. Out of the two, the winners today were the 200 grain TTSX load and the 200 grain Superformance factory ammo. Both of these were sub MOA at 100 yards. Twice the TTSX shot in the same hole, and twice I had the Superformance shoot in the same hole. So very impressed after only having about 40 rounds through the gun. Couldn't be happier. The 180s did not group very well. They were consistently about 2 MOA. They weren't pushed all the way to the max, so I may try that different later. But honestly, I'm probably going to be hunting with the 200 grain copper load or the 250 grain Speer Hot Cor. The 250 grain Speer Hot Cor was consistently right at MOA. I took it all the way out to 200 today. Stayed MOA out to 200, just really good load. So after about 5 rounds of the 250 grain Speer Hot Cor, you can see how the concussion from the round had loosened up the 10 on the chrono. Thought that was interesting. We were pushing, I believe, 26, 40, somewhere around there, so lots of power behind that bullet. The Superformance factory ammo was pushing 3,000 feet per second all day long. All right, this is 200 Hornady Superformance 35 Whelen. Really amazing. We didn't load the TTSX to the max. We did a pretty mild load on that, so I think we were somewhere around 2,700, 2,750. Every load was a good load today, with the exception of the 180 grain Hot Cor. Did not group well. Would still work for deer, but just not the preferred load for this gun. I will say the only issue we ran into today, at least twice, the recoil of the rifle itself seemed to push the latch back enough for the magazine to not fall out, but come loose, where the next time that I tried to chamber a round, it was skipping right over the top of the round. I would check the mag, and then sure enough, it would click back into place. So that happened twice today, both within the first 10 rounds in the rifle. After that, we We didn't have any more issues with the mag, so hopefully it stays that way. Filmed a clip just of the barrel recoil, or tried to anyways. I was at a public range today, so pretty limited camera work options. I'll roll some of that in for you so you can take a look at it, but the gun has some recoil. I mean, pushing 250 grains a bullet, over 2,600 feet per second, you can feel it. It isn't, it's definitely not any snappier than a Magnum cartridge. It was more of a push for sure. I would say it was just about like shooting a lightweight 30-06 or shooting my regular 30-06 with a heavier grain bullet. That's about what it felt like. It was not uncomfortable at all. Again, I put 40 rounds through this, and then I shot 60, 70 rounds of various other calibers while I was out there today. But very comfortable gun to shoot. The adjustable cheek piece was fantastic. I tried a couple of different positions and found one I really like. Now, when I'm wearing Ear Pro, I adjust it down a little bit lower because it messes with my Ear Pro a little bit. But man, what a great feature to have. The first 2 or 3 rounds, I did feel extraction was a little bit difficult. On open, just having to tug a little bit on the bolt to pull the brass out. That cleared up after the first 3 or 4 rounds. Not sure what the issue was there. I was shooting the Superformance first. Never had that issue with any of the other ammo, so I'm not sure. But completely cleared up, just like the magazine issue appeared to. So, next steps for the rifle, other than a possible kill this year on a black bear or a whitetail, is going to be to thread the muzzle. So, a gentleman not too far away from here has a shop that does it at a pretty good price and decent turnaround time. So, we'll probably break this back down and have it threaded. I'm not sure if I want to cut anything off the barrel or not. We're sitting at 24 inches right now. My suppressor is not that long and it's pretty lightweight, so I think we may just stay at 24 and thread it, or possibly take, 2.5, 3 inches off, something like that, just to keep it within reason. I don't know. What do y'all think? Leave a comment below and tell me if you'd keep it 24 inches or if you'd take it down a little bit. I'm not worried about losing too much, but man, it's nice to have the power. Something like this 200 grain copper, I think that is a more than adequate elk round. The 250 grain Speer Hot Cor that I shot today, man, a lot of power behind that. Fantastic round. I was so happy to see those groups turn out well. Anyways, that's it for the 3rd installment. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing my father and son in the videos. We enjoyed putting this rifle together. I enjoyed letting them see how a rifle's built. Just how you break it down, put it all back together, and what really goes into it. So there should be more of these to come, guys. I think on my next series I'm going to do a little synopsis of 35 caliber cartridges, probably this 350 Legend, 35 Remington included, and we'll go from there. But thank you for tuning in.
Go ahead.
If you like this video,
If you like this video, like and subscribe.